Week 5 Gallery Discussion, Course Project, Presentation 1. Welcome. Today's presentation will focus on evaluating the gray whale hunt case, specifically the decision regarding the Makah Tribe's request to resume hunting gray whales. The decision to grant or deny this request involves significant environmental, social, and ethical considerations that need to be analyzed in light of environmental justice. 2. Table of Contents. 3. Background of the Environmental Impact Statement, EIS. The Environmental Impact Statement, EIS, process for the Makah Tribe's request to hunt gray whales involves multiple stakeholders and regulatory reviews. The Makah Tribe, whose 1855 Treaty of Nibay explicitly secures their right to hunt whales, has sought permission from the National Marine Fisheries Service, NMFS, to resume this traditional practice. The location of the proposed hunting activity is in the Makah Tribe's usual and accustomed, UNA, fishing grounds off the northwest coast of Washington, which overlaps with the Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary. This region is a key migratory and feeding habitat for eastern North Pacific, ENP, gray whales. This proposal's timeline spans several years. The Draft Environmental Impact Statement, DIS, was first published in 2015, followed by a proposed rule in 2019, which outlined hunting regulations under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, MMPA. A formal hearing took place in 2021, during which an administrative law judge, ALJ, reviewed the proposal and recommended a decision. Several parties are involved in this process. The Makah Tribe is the proponent, but agencies such as NMFS and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs play key roles in regulatory oversight. Other stakeholders, including the Marine Mammal Commission and conservation groups like Sea Shepherd Legal, have provided input, with concerns regarding potential ecological impacts. Ultimately, NMFS is the deciding agency responsible for determining whether the Makah Tribe will receive an MMPA waiver to legally resume whaling. Their decision must balance tribal treaty rights, environmental protection laws, and ethical considerations regarding marine mammal conservation background, purpose and need. The primary motivation behind this proposal is the Makah Tribe's treaty-based right to hunt whales. The Treaty of Nibay, 1855, explicitly secured their whaling rights, which the tribe has sought to reclaim. Whaling holds deep cultural and spiritual importance for the Makah people, tied to their traditions, ceremonies, and communal identity. This project is needed for several reasons. Cultural and social needs. The ability to hunt gray whales would allow the Makah Tribe to revitalize traditional knowledge and practices, strengthening their cultural identity. Economic considerations. While not a commercial venture, whale products, such as food and materials for cultural use, provide economic benefits within the community. Environmental stewardship. The hunt is carefully regulated under the International Whaling Commission, IWC, to ensure sustainable whale populations, demonstrating that indigenous-led conservation can coexist with cultural practices. If successful, this project would help restore the Makah Tribe's whaling tradition, promote sustainable resource management, and reinforce indigenous sovereignty in natural resource decision-making. It is also designed to adhere to strict environmental impact assessments to ensure that the gray whale population remains stable. 4. Catalyst for the project. Purpose of the project. This project addresses the need to protect and manage the gray whale population while ensuring sustainable subsistence hunting practices for the Makah Tribe. The core goal is to balance cultural practices with conservation efforts, ensuring the long-term health of the whale populations. Catalysts for the project. Key drivers for this project include the increasing need for the Makah Tribe to exercise their treaty rights to hunt gray whales, alongside the challenges posed by fluctuating whale populations due to environmental changes like climate shifts and human activities such as shipping traffic and oil spills. The urgency is heightened by the ongoing unusual mortality event, UME, impacting gray whales since 2019, which has reduced whale populations. Why it's important. This project is crucial because it addresses environmental concerns regarding the health of the gray whale populations in the Pacific, social needs for the Makah Tribe to practice their traditional hunting, and the economic importance of sustainable tourism that relies on whale populations. It will help balance the tribe's rights with necessary conservation efforts, ensuring whale populations remain sustainable. Project need. This project responds to pressing issues such as the depletion of the gray whale population, the tribe's right to conduct subsistence hunting, and the effects of external factors like natural mortality events, e.g., strandings, and commercial fishing practices that harm whale populations. Without such a project, these issues may continue to jeopardize both the whale populations and the Makah tribe's cultural heritage. Expected outcomes. If successful, the project will help safeguard the gray whale populations by regulating hunting activities and implementing effective conservation measures. Additionally, it will enhance the tribe's cultural practices and provide an avenue for economic stability through responsible subsistence hunting. This initiative will also contribute to the long-term health of whale populations by integrating modern science with traditional knowledge. 5 EIS alternatives. The Makah tribe's whaling rights, granted in the 1855 Treaty of Nibay, have been challenged due to conservation concerns. The Draft Environmental Impact Statement (EIS) outlines multiple alternatives. Limited whaling with regulations. This alternative would permit hunting but under a strict quota system, NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Regulations would ensure compliance with IWC conservation standards, Firestone and Lilly, 2004. Seasonal restrictions would protect whales during their migration and calving periods, Kim, 2020. Non-lethal cultural practices. Conservationists suggest whale watching and ecotourism as a sustainable alternative, Gordon, 2016. Cultural events and ceremonial practices could be preserved without actual whaling, Coxeye, 2022. No action alternative. If no waiver is granted, whaling will remain illegal, Brand, 2008. While this protects whale populations, it also violates the Makah Treaty rights, Tala and Verschuren, 2019. The preferred alternative? NOAA is still evaluating the best approach to balance conservation with indigenous sovereignty, NOAA Fisheries, 2023. 6 interested and affected parties. Overview. Several groups are involved in the Makah whaling debate, each with distinct interests. Makah Tribe. Whaling is a core aspect of their identity, linked to spiritual traditions and treaty rights, Tala and Verschuren, 2019. The tribe argues that their economic stability depends on their ability to practice subsistence whaling, Coxeye, 2022. Environmental and animal rights groups. Groups like Sea Shepherd and Humane Society International argue that whaling threatens whale populations, Firestone and Lilly, 2004. Utilitarian ethics suggests minimizing animal suffering, Singer, 1975. Regulatory agencies, NMFS, NOAA, IWC. These agencies oversee conservation laws and determine whether the Makah can obtain an MMPA waiver, NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Local communities and businesses. Ecotourism, whale watching, could be an economic alternative, Gordon, 2016. Others argue that traditional whaling supports community livelihoods, Deutsch, 2017. Key conflict. The challenge is to balance indigenous rights, conservation laws, and economic considerations while ensuring the sustainability of gray whale populations. 7 interested and affected parties. Impacts. The Makah whaling case affects multiple parties in different ways. Health and quality of life. For the Makah, whaling is deeply tied to their identity and spiritual well-being. Conservationists argue that whale hunting raises ethical concerns regarding animal welfare, Johnson and Captain, 2015. Access to resources. The Makah's ability to hunt depends on the MMPA waiver. Some scientists worry about gray whale populations, though they are not currently endangered, Brand, 2008. Economic and community value. Ecotourism, whale watching, could provide an alternative revenue stream. Others argue that traditional whaling should be preserved as an economic and cultural activity, Gordon, 2016. Cumulative and long-term impacts. Climate change is affecting whale migration patterns, impacting both whalers and conservationists. Future U.S. and international conservation policies may set precedents for other indigenous groups, Kim, 2020. This issue is a complex intersection of tradition, law, ethics, and sustainability. The Makah whaling case affects multiple groups in different ways. Health and quality of life. Whaling is deeply tied to the Makah's cultural and spiritual well-being, Tala and Verschuren, 2019. Conservationists argue that whaling raises ethical concerns regarding animal suffering. Singer, 1975. Access to resources. The Makah need an MMPA waiver to hunt legally. Coxeye, 2022. Some scientists debate whether whaling poses a threat to gray whale populations, which are currently stable but experiencing fluctuations due to climate change. NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Economic and community value. Ecotourism, whale watching, could be a sustainable alternative. Gordon, 2016. Others argue that whaling is an integral economic and cultural practice that should be preserved. Cumulative and long-term impacts. Climate change is altering whale migration patterns, impacting both whalers and conservationists. Kim, 2020. Future U.S. and international conservation policies could set legal precedents affecting other indigenous groups. 8 Environmental Justice Considerations. Background. Environmental justice, EJ, refers to equitable environmental policies that consider the needs of all communities, including indigenous groups. U.S. EPA, 2021. The Makah Tribe's request to resume whaling must be analyzed through an EJ lens, as it involves their historical treaty rights and NOAA's regulatory oversight. Makah Treaty Rights. The 1855 Treaty of Nibe explicitly grants the Makah the right to hunt whales. Tala and Verschuren, 2019. However, U.S. environmental laws like the Marine Mammal Protection Act, MMPA, have restricted these rights. Firestone and Lilly, 2004. NOAA's regulatory role. NOAA must evaluate the environmental impact of granting an MMPA waiver. NOAA Fisheries, 2023. It must also balance conservation with indigenous sovereignty, ensuring compliance with U.S. federal laws and international agreements. Kim, 2020. Environmental disparities. Historically, indigenous groups have been disproportionately affected by environmental policies that limit their resource access. Coxeye, 2022. The decision on Makah whaling could set a precedent for future indigenous-led conservation efforts. Key question: can NOAA craft a decision that honors indigenous sovereignty while also protecting gray whale populations? 9 Environmental Justice Considerations. Resources. The Makah Tribe's cultural and environmental resources are at the heart of this case. This issue raises important questions about indigenous sovereignty, marine conservation, and legal conflicts. Environmental disparities. 2020. Cultural significance. Whaling is deeply tied to Makah spiritual practices, oral traditions, and ceremonies. Kim, 2020. The tribe argues that hunting gray whales reaffirms their identity and helps revitalize lost traditions. Conservation concerns. Some marine biologists state that gray whale populations are stable, but climate change is affecting their food supply. NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Groups like the Animal Welfare Institute claim that even limited whaling could increase stress on migrating whales. Deutsch, 2017. Legal challenges. The 1855 Treaty of Nibe guarantees the Makah's whaling rights, but the Marine Mammal Protection Act, MMPA, restricts them. Firestone and Lilly, 2004. NOAA must decide if an MMPA waiver can be granted while still upholding environmental protections. Key stakeholders. Indigenous rights groups argue that denying the Makah's request violates their treaty rights. Coxeye, 2022. Environmental organizations believe that allowing whaling would weaken global conservation policies. NOAA and policymakers must weigh these competing interests before making a final decision. NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Key conflict: can the Makah Tribe exercise their treaty rights without endangering gray whale populations? 10 Ethical considerations. Utilitarian ethics considers the overall benefits and harms of allowing whaling. Singer, 1975. The Makah argue that their cultural sovereignty should be respected, aligning with ethical principles of self-determination. Coxeye, 2022. On the other hand, conservation ethics emphasize biodiversity protection, arguing that human activity should not endanger species. Firestone and Lilly, 2004. The precautionary principle suggests that if potential harm to whale populations is uncertain, it is ethical to restrict hunting. Deutsch, 2017. Thus, the ethical dilemma remains: should indigenous traditions take precedence over global conservation ethics? Utilitarianism weighs the benefits of cultural preservation against the need for species protection. Singer, 1975. Indigenous sovereignty, the Makah tribe's right to self-determination is a key ethical argument. Coxeye, 2022. Conservation ethics. Environmentalists argue that biodiversity protection should be prioritized over cultural practices. Firestone and Lilly, 2004. Precautionary principle. If the long-term impact of whaling is uncertain, it may be ethical to prohibit it. Deutsch, 2017. 11. Recommendation. The Makah tribe has historically relied on whale hunting for cultural and subsistence purposes. However, concerns about whale populations, environmental stability, and ethical considerations must be addressed. A limited quota system ensures sustainability. A controlled quota prevents overexploitation and aligns with international conservation standards. By setting strict guidelines, we can balance cultural practices with species protection. NOAA Fisheries, 2023. Continuous ecological monitoring is essential. By requiring NOAA and independent researchers to track whale populations, we can assess the long-term impact of whaling and make data-driven adjustments to quotas and regulations. Kim, 2020. Collaboration is key to resolving conflicts. A formal agreement between the Makah tribe, NOAA, and environmental organizations will create a structured platform for discussion and compromise. This approach helps address conservation concerns while respecting indigenous rights. Gordon, 2016. Alternative cultural preservation methods should be explored. If future research identifies significant risks to whale populations, investment in non-lethal alternatives such as whale-watching ecotourism or cultural exhibitions should be considered to support Makah traditions in a sustainable way. Deutsch, 2017. 12. References. 13. Thank you.